WWE just got exposed in the most shocking way possible, and if you think this was just another wrestling moment, you're dead wrong. What happened with Jade Cargill didn't just break character, it shattered the entire foundation of sports entertainment, and the silence from WWE headquarters is deafening. Before I reveal exactly what went down and why Triple H is probably having emergency meetings right now, smash that like button because this story is about to get buried faster than you can say, kayfabe. Listen, I've been covering wrestling for over a decade, and I've never seen anything like what Jade Cargill just pulled off. This wasn't some scripted spot that went wrong. This wasn't a botched move or a missed cue. This was a complete and total annihilation of everything WWE has spent decades building, and they're scrambling to figure out how to handle it. You think you know what happened. You think this was just some cute moment between two female superstars. Think again. What Jade Cargill did during that live event wasn't just breaking character, it was breaking the fourth wall, breaking kayfabe, and potentially breaking her own WWE contract in the process. And here's the kicker, WWE can't do anything about it without admitting that their entire product is fake. See, here's what really happened, and why WWE is in full panic mode right now. During what was supposed to be a routine rivalry segment between Jade Cargill and her storyline opponent, something went completely off script. The tension was building exactly as WWE creative had planned. The crowd was eating it up. Everything was going according to the carefully orchestrated drama that WWE spends millions of dollars crafting every single week. But then Jade Cargill did something that wasn't in any script, wasn't approved by any producer, and definitely wasn't cleared by WWE's legal department. In front of thousands of fans and with cameras rolling, she leaned in and kissed her supposed rival. Not a stage kiss. Not a worked kiss. A real, genuine, unscripted moment of human connection that sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling industry. Now, you might be thinking, so what? Wrestlers break character all the time. Wrong. Dead wrong. You clearly don't understand how WWE operates or why this moment is so dangerous to their entire business model. WWE isn't just entertainment, it's a carefully controlled narrative machine worth billions of dollars. Every single second of every single show is planned, scripted, and approved by multiple layers of management. When someone goes off script like this, it doesn't just affect their storyline, it threatens the illusion that makes WWE billions of dollars every year. Think about it. WWE sells itself as sports entertainment. The key word there is entertainment. They're not selling real competition, they're selling carefully crafted drama designed to make you feel specific emotions at specific times. When Jade Cargill broke character like this, she reminded everyone watching that these are real people with real emotions, not just characters playing roles. And that's WWE's worst nightmare. But here's where it gets even more interesting, and why WWE executives are probably losing sleep right now. The kiss wasn't just unscripted, it was unscriptable. There's no way WWE creative could have written that moment because it came from a place of genuine human emotion that you can't fake. The authenticity of that moment made everything else on the show look fake by comparison. And once fans start questioning the authenticity of one thing, they start questioning everything. You want to know how serious this is? Look at WWE's response. Or rather, look at their complete lack of response. No official statement. No acknowledgement that it even happened. No follow-up storyline incorporating the kiss. Nothing. Radio silence. That's not how WWE operates when something goes according to plan. When WWE wants to capitalize on a moment, they're all over it within hours. Press releases, social media campaigns, merchandise, the whole 9 yards. The fact that they're pretending this didn't happen tells you everything you need to know about how badly this rattled them. And let's talk about Jade Cargill herself for a minute, because this woman just did something that could potentially end her WWE career, and she knew it when she did it. Jade Cargill isn't some rookie who doesn't understand the business. She's a seasoned performer who came from AEW with a reputation for being professional and reliable. She knows exactly how WWE operates. She knows about the scripts, the approval processes, the chain of command. She did this knowing full well that it could get her in serious trouble. So why did she do it? That's the million-dollar question that has WWE executives scratching their heads. Was it a moment of genuine emotion that she couldn't control? Was it a calculated move to generate buzz and get herself over? Was it her way of testing WWE's boundaries? Or was it something even deeper, a statement about the artificial nature of sports entertainment and the real human beings behind the characters? The fan reaction tells the whole story. Within minutes of the kiss, social media exploded. But here's what's really telling, fans weren't talking about the storyline or the rivalry or what might happen next week. They were talking about the authenticity of the moment. They were talking about seeing something real in a world of predetermined outcomes. They were talking about how refreshing it was to see genuine human emotion in an environment where everything is usually calculated and scripted. That's exactly what WWE was afraid would happen. Once fans get a taste of authentic emotion, scripted drama starts to feel hollow by comparison. It's like seeing behind the curtain of a magic show. Once you know how the trick works, it's never quite as impressive again. But let's dig deeper into why this moment was so powerful and why it's causing such controversy within WWE's walls. Professional wrestling has always walked a fine line between reality and fiction. The best wrestlers are the ones who can make you forget that what you're watching is predetermined. They make you care about the characters, invest in the storylines, and believe in the drama even when you know it's not real. Jade Cargill's kiss shattered that careful balance. For a few seconds, the fiction fell away completely, and fans got to see two real people having a real moment. It was beautiful, it was authentic, and it was absolutely terrifying for WWE's business model. Think about WWE's recent history with unscripted moments. Remember CM Punk's pipe bomb promo? That was unscripted, authentic, and it became one of the most talked about moments in WWE history. But here's the difference, Punk's promo was still within the framework of professional wrestling. He was still playing a character, just speaking his own words. Jade Cargill's kiss was completely outside that framework. It was purely human. And that's why WWE doesn't know how to handle it. They can't acknowledge it without admitting their product is scripted. They can't build a storyline around it without cheapening the authenticity that made it special. They can't punish Jade Cargill without creating even more controversy. They're stuck, and everyone in the wrestling world knows it. Now, let's talk about what this means for Jade Cargill's career. On one hand, she just generated more mainstream buzz than most WWE superstars see in their entire careers. That kiss has been viewed millions of times across social media platforms. It's been covered by mainstream entertainment outlets, not just wrestling websites. It's the kind of crossover moment that WWE usually pays millions of dollars to create artificially. On the other hand, she just proved that she's willing to go completely off script when the mood strikes her. That makes her unpredictable, and unpredictable performers make WWE executives nervous. They like their talent to be creative within very specific boundaries. Jade Cargill just proved that she doesn't recognize those boundaries. But here's what I think is really happening, and why this story is so much bigger than just one unscripted moment. I think Jade Cargill just fired the first shot in a war between authenticity and manufactured entertainment that's been brewing in professional wrestling for years. Fans are getting tired of overly produced, focus-grouped entertainment. They want something real, something genuine, something that feels authentic even if they know it's predetermined. Look at the wrestlers who are most over with fans right now. They're the ones who feel authentic, who blur the line between character and person, who make you believe that what you're seeing is real even when you know it's not. Jade Cargill just proved that authentic moments resonate with fans in a way that scripted drama never can. And that's what has WWE so worried. If fans start demanding more authenticity, more real moments, more genuine emotion, it threatens WWE's entire approach to sports entertainment. They've spent decades perfecting a system of manufactured drama, and Jade Cargill just proved that one moment of genuine emotion can overshadow hours of carefully crafted storylines. But let's also talk about the other woman involved in this kiss, because she's been getting overlooked in all the coverage, and that's not fair. While everyone's talking about Jade Cargill's boldness, her kiss partner showed equal courage in that moment. She could have pulled away, could have stayed in character, could have protected the storyline. Instead, she chose to be present for a genuine human moment, even knowing it could cause problems for both of them. The chemistry between these two performers was undeniable, and that's another thing that has WWE executives worried. Real chemistry can't be scripted or manufactured. It either exists or it doesn't. When fans see real chemistry between performers, it makes scripted interactions look artificial by comparison. WWE has built their entire women's division around carefully constructed rivalries and alliances, and one authentic moment just showed how much more powerful real connections can be. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the LGBTQ+ representation aspect of this moment. Professional wrestling has a complicated history with LGBTQ+ storylines and characters. WWE has made progress in recent years, but they've always been careful to keep any LGBTQ+ content within safe, scripted boundaries. Jade Cargill's kiss wasn't safe or scripted, and that makes it even more significant. This wasn't a storyline about two women falling in love or a carefully crafted LGBTQ+ narrative designed to hit specific demographic targets. This was just two human beings having a genuine moment of connection, regardless of gender or sexual orientation. It was beautifully, authentically human, and that authenticity is exactly what makes it so powerful and so threatening to WWE's corporate structure. The fact that WWE hasn't tried to turn this into a storyline tells you everything you need to know about how they view it. If this had been a scripted moment, they would have been all over it. Pride Month merchandise, social media campaigns, the works. The silence tells you this caught them completely off guard and they have no idea how to handle it. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. Sources within WWE are saying that this moment has created a divide within the company itself. Some executives are furious that Jade Cargill went off script and potentially opened WWE up to controversy or backlash. Others are recognizing that she just created the kind of authentic, buzzworthy moment that money can't buy. The wrestlers themselves are reportedly split as well. Some see Jade Cargill as a professional who broke the rules and potentially put everyone's jobs at risk. Others see her as a pioneer who just proved that authentic moments can be more powerful than any scripted storyline. The locker room politics around this situation are apparently getting intense. And that brings us to the bigger question: what happens next? WWE has several options, and none of them are good for the company's traditional approach to business. They can pretend it never happened, but that just makes them look out of touch with their own product. They can try to turn it into a storyline, but that risks cheapening the authenticity that made it special. They can punish Jade Cargill, but that creates a backlash and makes them look like the bad guys. My prediction: WWE is going to try to have their cake and eat it too. They're going to slowly, carefully try to incorporate elements of this moment into future storylines without directly acknowledging what happened. They'll try to capture some of the authenticity and buzz while maintaining control of the narrative. But here's the problem with that approach: you can't manufacture authenticity. The moment you try to script genuine emotion, it stops being genuine. Meanwhile, Jade Cargill has put herself in an incredibly interesting position. She's proven that she can create moments that resonate with fans on a level that scripted content never can. That makes her incredibly valuable to any wrestling company, including WWE. But it also makes her incredibly dangerous to WWE's business model. Think about what would happen if more wrestlers started following Jade Cargill's example. What if performers started prioritizing authentic moments over scripted storylines? What if they started breaking character whenever they felt genuine emotion? WWE's entire system of control would collapse overnight. That's why this moment is so much bigger than just one kiss. It's about the future of professional wrestling and the balance between authentic emotion and manufactured entertainment. Jade Cargill just proved that authentic moments can be more powerful than any script, and that's a lesson that could reshape the entire industry. The wrestling business has always been about making people believe in something they know isn't real. The best wrestlers are the ones who can make you forget about the predetermined outcomes and invest in the characters and storylines. But Jade Cargill just did something different: she made people believe in something that actually was real. And once fans get a taste of that authenticity, they're going to want more. This is exactly why WWE executives are probably having emergency meetings right now. They're not just dealing with one unscripted moment, they're dealing with a potential shift in what fans expect from professional wrestling. If fans start demanding more authenticity, more real moments, more genuine emotion, it threatens everything WWE has built their business on. But here's what's really fascinating about this whole situation: the mainstream media coverage. Usually, when something happens in professional wrestling, it stays within the wrestling bubble. Wrestling websites cover it, wrestling podcasts talk about it, wrestling fans discuss it on social media, and that's about it. Jade Cargill's kiss broke out of that bubble in a way that very few wrestling moments ever do. Entertainment Tonight covered it. TMZ picked it up. Social media influencers who have never talked about wrestling before were posting about it. That kind of mainstream crossover is exactly what WWE spends millions of dollars trying to achieve with celebrity appearances and mainstream partnerships. Jade Cargill did it with one authentic moment. And that mainstream coverage is another thing that has WWE worried. When wrestling stays within the wrestling bubble, WWE can control the narrative. They can influence how stories are covered, what angles are emphasized, what details are included or left out. But when a story breaks into mainstream coverage, WWE loses that control. Mainstream outlets don't care about protecting kayfabe or maintaining storylines, they just report what happened. The mainstream coverage of Jade Cargill's kiss focused entirely on the authenticity and spontaneity of the moment. They didn't try to fit it into existing storylines or speculate about what it means for future episodes. They just celebrated it as a genuine moment of human connection, which is exactly the opposite of how WWE wants their product to be covered. Now, let's talk about the technical aspects of what happened, because the details matter here. This wasn't during a backstage segment or an interview where things can be edited or reshot. This was during a live event in front of thousands of fans with multiple cameras rolling. There was no way to take it back, no way to edit it out, no way to pretend it didn't happen. The timing was also significant. This happened during what was supposed to be a heated confrontation between rivals. The audience was expecting intensity, aggression, maybe even violence. Instead, they got tenderness and genuine human connection. The contrast made the moment even more powerful and shocking. And let's talk about the body language, because that tells the real story. Both women were completely present in that moment. There was no hesitation, no looking around for approval from producers, no concern about cameras or crowd reaction. They were just two people sharing an authentic moment of connection, and that authenticity is what made it so powerful. Professional wrestlers are trained to always be aware of their surroundings, to play to the cameras, to consider how their actions will look on television. Jade Cargill and her kiss partner threw all of that training out the window for a few seconds and just existed as real people having a real moment. That kind of authenticity is impossible to fake and incredibly rare in the wrestling business. The crowd reaction was also telling. There was a moment of stunned silence before the crowd erupted. That silence wasn't confusion, it was recognition. The audience knew they had just witnessed something real in an environment where everything is usually predetermined. They needed a moment to process what they had seen before they could react. And when they did react, it wasn't with the typical wrestling crowd responses. There were no chants, no, this is awesome, or, holy shit, reactions. The crowd responded like they would to any genuine moment of human connection, with appreciation, excitement, and respect. That's not how wrestling crowds usually react to wrestling moments, and that difference is significant. Social media reaction was equally unique. Instead of arguing about whether it was a good or bad wrestling moment, fans were celebrating it as a beautiful human moment. Instead of debating how it fit into existing storylines, they were just happy to have witnessed something authentic. The conversation around this moment has been completely different from typical wrestling discourse. That different conversation is another thing that has WWE executives worried. They've spent decades training fans to think about wrestling in specific ways, to care about wins and losses, to invest in storylines, to buy into manufactured drama. Jade Cargill's kiss made fans think about wrestling as real people doing a difficult job, and that's a perspective WWE doesn't want fans to have. But here's what I think is the most important aspect of this whole situation, what it reveals about the current state of professional wrestling and where the industry might be heading. Fans are clearly hungry for authenticity in a way they haven't been in decades. The biggest reactions, the most viral moments, the most talked about segments are increasingly the ones that feel real, even within the predetermined framework of professional wrestling. Look at the wrestlers who are most successful right now. They're the ones who have found ways to inject authenticity into their characters, who blur the line between performer and person, who make you believe that what you're seeing is real even when you know it's scripted. Jade Cargill just took that concept to its logical extreme by removing the script entirely. This moment also highlights the generational divide in professional wrestling. Older fans and industry veterans are more likely to be upset about breaking kayfabe and going off script. Younger fans and newer viewers are more likely to celebrate the authenticity and genuine emotion. WWE has to consider both demographics, but they also have to consider which direction the industry is heading. The rise of social media has made it much harder to maintain the traditional boundaries between character and performer. Fans follow wrestlers on Instagram and Twitter, they see behind-the-scenes content, they know about real-life relationships and friendships. The line between what's real and what's scripted is already blurred for most fans. Jade Cargill just acknowledged that reality instead of pretending it doesn't exist. And that brings us to the international perspective on this story. Professional wrestling is a global business now, and different cultures have different attitudes toward authenticity, emotion, and LGBTQ+ representation. The fact that this moment has resonated with fans worldwide suggests that the hunger for authenticity in wrestling isn't limited to American audiences. Japanese wrestling has always had a different relationship with authenticity and emotion than American wrestling. Mexican wrestling incorporates real cultural and family connections into storylines in ways American wrestling typically doesn't. European wrestling often feels more genuine and less produced than WWE's highly polished product. Jade Cargill's moment felt more like something you might see in those wrestling cultures than in typical WWE programming. That cultural perspective is another factor WWE has to consider. As they continue to expand globally, they need to understand that different audiences have different expectations and different tolerance for manufactured versus authentic content. Jade Cargill's kiss might have been shocking by WWE standards, but it might feel perfectly natural to fans from other wrestling cultures. Now, let's talk about the business implications of this moment, because that's ultimately what WWE cares about most. On the surface, this seems like a nightmare scenario for a publicly traded company that depends on predictable, controlled content. Shareholders don't like surprises, advertisers don't like controversy, and broadcast partners don't like content they can't preview and approve. But look deeper, and the business case for authenticity becomes clear. This moment generated more organic buzz and mainstream coverage than most WWE storylines manage in months of careful planning and millions of dollars in promotion. It created genuine emotional investment from fans in a way that scripted drama rarely achieves. It showcased WWE's talent in a way that made them seem like real, relatable human beings rather than just characters playing roles. From a merchandising perspective, both wrestlers involved in this moment just became infinitely more marketable. Fans don't just want to cheer for characters, they want to support real people they feel connected to. Authentic moments create the kind of emotional investment that translates directly into merchandise sales, ticket sales, and subscription renewals. From a talent retention perspective, this moment might actually help WWE keep their best performers happy. Wrestlers get into the business because they want to connect with audiences and tell stories. When they're restricted to rigid scripts and predetermined outcomes, that creative fulfillment can be hard to find. Authentic moments like this remind wrestlers why they love performing and give them a sense of genuine connection with their audience. But the biggest business implication might be the long-term shift in audience expectations. If fans start demanding more authenticity from wrestling content, WWE will need to find ways to provide it without losing control of their product. That's a difficult balance to strike, but it's a challenge they'll need to face if they want to stay relevant to younger audiences who have grown up with social media and expect more transparency from their entertainment. The streaming era has also changed how fans consume wrestling content. They're not just watching weekly television shows, they're following wrestlers on social media, watching behind-the-scenes content, listening to podcasts, reading interviews. They have access to more information about the real people behind the characters than ever before. Trying to maintain strict separation between performer and character is becoming increasingly difficult and increasingly irrelevant. Jade Cargill's kiss might be the moment that forces WWE to acknowledge this new reality and start adapting their approach accordingly. Instead of fighting against the desire for authenticity, they might need to find ways to incorporate it into their storytelling while still maintaining the structure and predictability that their business model requires. This could lead to some fascinating developments in how WWE approaches character development and storyline creation. Instead of creating characters from scratch and having performers play roles, they might start building storylines around the real personalities and relationships of their talent. Instead of completely scripted promos, they might give performers more freedom to speak authentically about their motivations and emotions. The women's division in particular could benefit from this approach. Female wrestlers have often been restricted to very limited character types and storylines. More authentic storytelling could allow them to showcase the full range of their personalities and create more complex, interesting characters that resonate with audiences on a deeper level. But implementing this kind of change won't be easy for WWE. Their entire creative process, from the writing team to the production staff to the executive approval process, is built around maintaining strict control over every aspect of their programming. Allowing more authenticity means giving up some of that control, which goes against everything WWE has built their business on. There's also the question of how much authenticity audiences actually want. While Jade Cargill's kiss was celebrated for its genuineness, fans still tune into wrestling because they want to see larger-than-life characters in dramatic situations. Finding the right balance between authentic emotion and entertaining spectacle will be crucial for any wrestling company trying to evolve their approach. The legal implications of this moment are also worth considering. WWE contracts typically include very specific language about staying in character and following scripts. Jade Cargill's decision to go completely off-script could technically be considered a breach of contract, depending on how her agreement is worded. However, pursuing legal action against her for creating positive buzz and mainstream coverage would be a public relations nightmare for WWE. This situation also raises questions about creative control and artistic expression in professional wrestling. Wrestlers are often classified as independent contractors rather than employees, which theoretically gives them more freedom to make creative decisions. However, WWE maintains strict control over their programming regardless of their talent's employment classification. Jade Cargill's kiss might force a broader conversation about the rights of performers to express themselves authentically within the framework of sports entertainment. From an industry-wide perspective, this moment could influence how other wrestling companies approach authenticity and scripted content. AEW, Impact Wrestling, and other promotions are always looking for ways to differentiate themselves from WWE. If authentic moments like this continue to generate positive reactions from fans, we might see other companies giving their talent more freedom to break character and create genuine connections with audiences. The timing of this moment is also significant from an industry perspective. Professional wrestling is currently experiencing a period of growth and mainstream acceptance that it hasn't seen in decades. Multiple companies are thriving, streaming platforms are investing in wrestling content, and celebrity involvement is at an all-time high. Jade Cargill's kiss represents a potential inflection point where the industry could either embrace authenticity as a key differentiator or double down on traditional approaches to sports entertainment. For Jade Cargill personally, this moment has elevated her profile in ways that years of traditional wrestling storylines might never have achieved. She's gone from being a talented performer with potential to being a genuine cultural figure who represents authenticity and courage in an industry often criticized for being artificial and corporate-controlled. The courage it took to make this choice cannot be overstated. Jade Cargill knew she was risking her career, her relationship with WWE management, and potentially her future in the wrestling industry. She chose to prioritize authentic human connection over professional safety, and that choice has resonated with fans in a way that calculated career moves never could. This moment also showcases Jade Cargill's understanding of her own value and her confidence in her abilities as a performer. She wasn't desperately trying to get attention or create controversy for its own sake. She was a successful, respected performer who made a choice based on genuine emotion, knowing that her talent and professionalism would ultimately protect her from serious consequences. The fact that this moment came from someone with Jade Cargill's reputation and standing in the company makes it even more significant. This wasn't a rookie making a mistake or a troubled performer acting out. This was a top-tier talent making a conscious choice to prioritize authenticity over adherence to script, and that choice carries more weight because of who made it. Looking forward, the question becomes whether this moment represents a one-time break from traditional wrestling presentation or the beginning of a broader shift toward more authentic storytelling in professional wrestling. The fan reaction suggests there's definitely an appetite for more genuine moments, but implementing systemic change in an industry as traditional and corporate-controlled as WWE will be challenging. Other performers are undoubtedly watching WWE's response to this situation carefully. If Jade Cargill faces no negative consequences or even benefits from this choice, it could encourage other wrestlers to seek out their own authentic moments. If WWE cracks down hard or punishes her in subtle ways, it sends a clear message about the limits of creative freedom within their organization. The broader entertainment industry is also watching this situation with interest. Professional wrestling has always been ahead of the curve in terms of blending reality and fiction, and authentic moments like this could influence how other forms of entertainment approach the balance between scripted content and genuine emotion. In conclusion, Jade Cargill's unexpected kiss represents far more than just one unscripted moment in a wrestling show. It's a potential watershed moment that could influence the future direction of professional wrestling, the balance between authenticity and entertainment, and the relationship between performers and the corporate structures that employ them. Whether WWE chooses to embrace this moment as an example of the kind of authentic content that resonates with modern audiences, or whether they double down on traditional approaches to sports entertainment, will say a lot about where the company sees itself heading in an increasingly competitive and rapidly evolving entertainment landscape. What's certain is that Jade Cargill has proven that authentic human moments can be more powerful than any script, more memorable than any predetermined outcome, and more valuable than any carefully planned storyline. In an industry built on making people believe in predetermined drama, she reminded everyone that genuine emotion is still the most compelling force in entertainment. The wrestling world will be watching closely to see how this story develops, but one thing is already clear: Jade Cargill has changed the conversation about what's possible in professional wrestling, and that conversation isn't going back to where it was before she had the courage to break character and show the world that sometimes the most powerful moments are the ones that nobody saw coming. And that's exactly why WWE is terrified, why fans are excited, and why this moment will be remembered long after countless scripted storylines are forgotten. Because in a world of manufactured entertainment, authentic human connection will always be the most powerful force of all. If you thought tonight's story was wild, trust me, what happens next will blow your mind. So don't stop now. Click on the video right here on your screen to continue the chaos, the drama, and the inside scoop only we deliver. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and join the WrestlingNewsCC family, where the real stories of WWE come to life. See you in the next one.